everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and this is week 3 of our June color challenge where we are using a yellow, an aqua, a coral, and a dark blue, or any shade of blue you want to use. Remember, you can play in any or all of these challenges. You can make whatever you want as long as you use at least 3 of the 4 colors in your make. And this week, or this month, we are featuring the inspiration of Joie De Fi. And this week and next week, we're going to talk about embellishments. Simple, basic stuff that you can make with stuff that you have in your crafting room, regardless of how few supplies you have. I know you look at other people and think, gosh, she's got a lot. Well, yeah, it comes from accumulation. But even if you're a new junk journaler, you can do today's project. We're going to start with, we're making pockets today. And we're going to start with a simple, basic notebook paper, whatever junk paper you have that you've printed, misprints, whatever. Notebook paper your kid has scribbled on, it doesn't matter. We're going to start our base with a piece of junk journal, okay? Then we're going to top and add some texture with some book or music papers, whatever you have on hand. You can even use a digital printout if you want to. And I forgot to pull one thing. Oh, I've got it here. Never mind. It's handy. It's handy, kind of, sort of. I need to grab a pair of decorative scissors really quick. And they're handy. I'm just looking for a plain scallop. There we go. I knew I had one. I had everything else over here except for that. And we're going to use that. You'll need a pair of scissors or a paper trimmer and your favorite glue. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with our scrap papers here. Our notebook or whatever you're going to use. I think I'm going to use one of my old syllabus sheets from Michael's. I think that's what I'm going to use for today. The size of your base paper is going to determine the size of your pocket. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to turn it horizontal and fold it in half, just like that, okay? Your book pages are going to do the same. This is going to be the size of your pocket. And something to keep in mind, if you've been doing this and you already have your cover in your pages, think about the width of the pocket that's going to fit in your book. Okay, now let's start with our book pages, and I'm going to start, these are a little bit on the yellowed side, but I really like this dictionary page. Really love this dictionary page. I think that's what I'm going to use, actually. I'm going to use a dictionary page. This one's got a hole in it, so it's a perfect one to start with. And I'm going to lay it sideways. So, let's start by figuring out about how wide we need it. And because this is not the same length as my book, I'm going to wind up doing 2 of these. And I'm going to tear. Oh, that is, when it's soft paper like that, it just sounds so cool. And I'm going to leave this here because I love this texture on this edge. And normally, I would have 2 sheets of paper that would fit side by side on here like this. But because this is a bigger page, I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half, find my halfway point, and I'm going to turn it into 2 pockets. And I'm going to tear it, so I've got a little extra texture, okay? Now notice we've not glued anything together yet. Don't worry about gluing it, just want it folded. And then we want, I think I want those holes on the back. We don't want this to come completely to the edges of your paper. You want that white showing through all the way around. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to figure right about there. And I'm going to tear that off. Okay? And now I have a scrap. I forgot where my camera was. Then I have a scrap, okay? Now, this we can go ahead and put down. And Joey uses glue sticks a lot. You know I'm not a fan of glue stick, but you know what? I am going to wind up stitching this later, so I will go ahead and use a glue stick for this. And I'm going to use the mono glue stick that I get from Spectrum Arts. Let's see, find my glue book page here. This is my... Now, because this is an old dictionary, I'm going to want to be really careful with adding the glue here, or I'm going to be tearing my page, and I don't want to tear that page. So I'm going to be really gentle here, and I'm going to go around the edges first, and that'll kind of help. That will kind of help strengthen those edges, and then I can come back and swipe with my glue stick. Whoops, just like that. Just like that. And I'm going to stick this right on there, and remember, I want those whites to show. There we go. Okay, so there's one of them, and now we're going to do the same thing to the other side, or to the other half of our white paper. And yes, I know some people don't like the wording going sideways. Normally, I don't either. But for this, it's about a visual element that laying the paper sideways provides. So I'm going to fold that into where I can see my white behind me. Whoops, a little sharp there. There we go. And do that. And then I can move these out of the way. Okay, and then that's going to go on there like that. And I really don't have enough of this showing, so I'm going to... I did tear that a little bit wide, so I'm going to take it, just tear it off. Now, I could throw this away, but I like that in a cluster, and we're going to be doing clusters next week. So you're going to want to hang on to that. Now, let's go back and do our edges, and keep our fingers out of the edges this time, so we don't tear our paper. And do just this down through the edge. And remember, I'm not a fan of the glue stick unless I'm going to sew around it. And I am going to be sewing around this next week. I was going to sew my cover today. And then I remembered that I was going to want to sew around these. So I decided to wait and sew across everything at once. So hopefully I will have that to show you tomorrow. Okay, so we have 2 pockets here we're going to work with. Now, Joy is a big fan of drawing, using watercolors, using her acrylics. So we're going to use our watercolor pencils today. Now she draws, I don't draw. I could maybe, but I need to practice more before I do that with you guys. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get my Tuxedo Black. And remember that the Memento Tuxedo will not bleed when you add water to it. You can use StazOn. Just remember, if you use StazOn, to clean your stamp right away, or throw a wet baby wipe over top of it, something, because it will stick. Okay? Dee Grunig taught me to huff on my stamps like I'm mad at somebody. And I'm using the stamps from Stampin' Up! That I had picked out to use in this journal. And I'm going to do that one. And then on the other one, I'm going to use a Daisy. This is from a retired Stampin' Up! Set. And I love it because I love the vases. And that's going to add another element that I can do on here. Okay. I miss Dee Grunig. She was such a sweet lady. I had the opportunity to take a class with her in Chicago after having seen her on the Carol Duvall show. And I thought she was just the sweetest lady on earth. So soft-spoken. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to come in here and add color. Now, I had pulled out my watercolor crayons. For some reason, that lid does not want to shut. But I'm going to come in here with my watercolor pencils from Stampin' Up! They're not as pigmented as some, but they're what I have. Another thing you could do, and maybe we'll do that with the tulips. I have an idea for the tulips. Let's start with our daisies. Here, and I want a really light blue. I need a really, really light blue. I guess this is as light as I'm going to get. I'm going to come in here. You can see the water line here. And I'm just going to color that in. Just like that. And then I just had my watercolor brush. I just had it. I swear. Okay, guys, where did I roll it? There it is, stuck underneath my book. It's like I just had it. And there we go. I had one of these that wasn't working very well yesterday. Now you can use a watercolor brush, a water brush. You can get these through Spectrum Art Creations. You can get them at Hobby Lobby, 3 to a pack. I have bought several. I should have about 8 or 9 around here, and I can find 2. I can find 2. Okay, now I'm not sure how well a yellow's going to show on here, but we're going to try it anyway. And we're going to come in here, and we're just going to shallow those in. And it doesn't have to be really dark. And remember, you can leave the watercolor brush or pencils as they are, or you can come back in and use the watercolor and thin them out a little bit. The choice is yours. Thing to be careful with your water brush is they tend to really push out the water at first. And you wind up with a little too much water. But I come back in with my dry baby wipe and just blot it up. Okay, and then I want a center on there. Oh, excuse me. Let's use a brown center on here. Something a little contrast from the... I'm not going to hit that with a lot of water because I don't want to water out the brown. Okay, now we have some green in here, so let's come in. I have this really pretty, ooh. I just saw garden green right in front of me and then it vanished. So let's use our Granny Apple Green and get us some color on those leaves. Just like that. Tell you, the crows have been going nuts today. I fed them popcorn this morning and they haven't shut up since. Sounds like instead of a caw, it sounds like I have a kazoo band in my yard. Okay, so there we have the image. Now, remember we haven't glued this shut yet. And the reason we haven't done that is because we're going to add a border. And you can use a piece of scrapbook paper. You can use part of a digital, whatever you want to use. That is not the one I want to use. Where did I put my water paper or my scrapbook paper? I just had it. There it is. And here it is. I took it out of the holder so I could find it. You know what? I think I do want to use that scrapbook paper or that paper from a Digi. And I think it's from Dear Julie Julie. It's this one here. I love this. This is one of Julie's digitals that I really do enjoy. Now you're going to want this to be about 1 inch wide. So for this one I am going to use the paper trimmer. And how long is this? This is 5.5. So I'm going to do it 5 1/4. And then I'm going to come back and cut me off 1 inch. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the one for the other one while we're at it. The only thing I don't like about this, let's cut this one at 2 inches and I'll show you why here in just a second. Is because I don't like the plain white on the back. Okay. Now I'm going to fold this one in half. Just like that. And this will let me have color on both the front and the back. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in and I want this on the inside. So I'm going to come back with this with my scissors. And if you don't have decorative scissors, you can tear this and give yourself a nice textural element. You can use pinking scissors. If you have a border punch, I have one that's lace and I really didn't want lace on here. I wanted the border. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that together first. Which just a strip of that glue. Okay, just like this. Now, Joy used a piece of decorative paper that was double-sided, and you can do that. This is just what I wanted to use, and it wasn't double-sided, so it's what I'm working with. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down. And then it will be ready. And I have sticky scissors over here. These are from Walmart. They're a Westcott brand non-stick scissor. They run about $10, but they save having to clean your other scissors all the time. And while I'm doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and take this one off too. And then we can glue both of these into place at the same time. Okay, so how many of you have purchased magicals from Maddie's, from Spectrum Art Creations? You're going to love this next one that I'm going to do. Okay, I want to, and I'm going to run my glue stick down the opposite side from the scallop, and I'm going to position this to where, and I didn't press that down yet because I want to see how much of this I have sticking out. I want just enough to give me a border. And I think that's going to do it. That's going to do it. Yeah, we can live with that. We can live with that. Okay, so we'll press that down. And then I am going to use my Tombow. No, I'll use this because I am going to be gluing it into place. So for this one, I'm going to come over here and put the glue on the bare side, so that I don't go too far over onto my decorative paper. And then we're just going to flop that over. Oops. We have a pocket to close up here. Just like that. Okay. Now, if you wanted to add an extra element, that now would be the time to add maybe some lace at the bottom. Okay. But we're doing this really plain and simple. Okay, the next thing we need, we're going to finish this one first. The next thing we need to do is we need something down in here. And you can use stickers. You can use rub-ons. That was the other thing I had handy. What did I do with my rub-ons? That's what I want to use, not those. I use my rub-ons. I could not find any rub-ons purchased from Spectrum Art Creations, but I have these from Dollar Tree. And I want to put something down in this corner. Let's do the butterfly. Let's do the butterfly down in this corner. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to cut this butterfly out. And I'm going to use the orange one because I'll use the blue one on the other pocket. Now, I've been using a lot of botanical type items on this book. Now, you can use a bone folder. You can use a popsicle stick. You can use the flat end of the tool from Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to trim this white off. I want to trim this down really close. And I'm going to try to follow there, because I don't want that edge on there. Okay, just like that. Get these out of my way over here into my trash can. Since I've got this corner the way I want it, I'm trying really hard to clean up as I go. Okay, so now we've got, with your rub-on, you're going to peel the top, peel your backing paper off, lay it down, just like that, and then you're going to take whatever your burnishing tool is that you're using, and really burnish that down, and you can see it's starting to transfer. And I want to go this way with it, so I'm going to go this way. See how that background is lightening up and the book page is starting to show through? That's what you want. You can lift it up and see if you're getting everything. Lift it up. And there's your rub-on transfer. Okay, the next thing I have is I have chat stickers from Tim Holtz, and these are called Small Talk. And I think they come with black and with white. And I'm going to do I can get my fingernail underneath of it. I have this one here, Live Your Dream with Passion. And I'm going to kind of lift that off, but I'm not going to take it all the way off yet because I do want to put a little bit of texture element back here behind. And I think it's going to be with a little bit of burlap. Now the other day, I had the burlap over here and I knew exactly where the burlap was at, and now I can't find it. So we're going to use, well, maybe we do. Maybe we do. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. I am so I'm so organized in this corner. I'm lost. I'm telling you. I love this burlap ribbon from Stampin' Up. I think they still have it. If they do, I will link it down below. And you know what? I think instead of that, I think maybe I want the white. I think I want the white. Well, we've been on here almost 20 minutes. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to split this into a two-part. And I will be back to show you what we're going to do with this one. So come back for part 2.